Hi, folks. Do you think it's possible to build a $10 million portfolio over 10 years, starting with just $100,000? Well, I'm going to show you a very, very simple plan that people use to grow their wealth that could possibly do just that for you. So, let me give you a bit of foundation first. See these developments here? You've got all of these, they weren't there at one time. They were a block of land, okay? And then a developer got this smart idea to build these projects. Now, what I do is I get access to a lot of quality developments before the public know about them. We refer to this as off market developments. And I make my clients aware of these, and so they can often get access to these developments that end up being 30% below the end price of the development because the investors got in early. So, what does that mean? Well, basically, it means that you've got the ability to grow a lot of wealth using a little money. Let me show you how that works, because I've put together this super duper, no expenses spared presentation for you to step you through this process. It is simple, otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do it. So, here's the way that you could possibly grow your financial fortress for yourself using property as the vehicle. So, let's say that you start off with $100,000. Now, you could do one of two things. You go off and you buy yourself your dream home and put all your money into buying your furniture and your fancy cars and keeping up with the Joneses. Or perhaps you could just live frugally and rent somewhere and then let the government give you lots and lots of tax deductions and you invest in, say, an off-market development, an apartment somewhere in a quality location, okay? Now, before I go through and explain this whole plan to you, I just want to perhaps make you aware of my background. So I bought my first property at 19. And the reason I'm just sharing this with you is you need to be mindful of the people that you listen to. So I've been investing for over 40 years in property, and I believe property is one of the best ways to become wealthy without stuffing it up. Okay, so as you can see, I've bought a couple of properties over the years, and right now I live in my property in the bottom of Tamborine Mountain on an 8-acre horse property. So I've had my fair share of success when it comes to growing wealth. And property really is how you grow your wealth. Business is how you have your cash flow, and then property is how you build that real wealth behind you. Now, I want to say up front, it's not financial advice. I've got no fancy letters after my name. I'm a licensed real estate agent. Everything I'm sharing with you is just based on my own experiences and strategies that I've personally used. You always do your own due diligence and make your own decisions. You know, you're perfectly acceptable for you to ignore everything that I share with you and go do something else and ignore everything that I'm about to say. I have built 5 multi-million-dollar companies, employed over 300 people, and sort of had a lot of expensive experience over the years. So you make the call. Now, back to my fantastic no expense paired presentation here. Let's just say again that you've got this $100,000 that you're going to invest. So you buy a off-market property. Let's say it was $1 million property. You put your $100,000 down as a 10% deposit. Over 2 years, it's grown to 1.21 million, okay, assuming a 10% capital gain. Now, I personally believe over the coming years that especially Gold Coast, Brisbane is going to enjoy some very, very high returns, although there are no guarantees in life. So, you know, that's why you must buy in a prime location. So that you can bear the ups and downs. But let's assume you're getting 10% on your money. So on 10% on $1 million over 2 years, let's just say it's 1.21 million. You've now created $210,000 in equity off your initial $100,000. I don't know about you, but that's a better return, I would say, than you get from the bank. Now let's go year 2 to 4. So you use that 210,000 that you've got in equity to then buy a second property. Now you have 2 of them, okay? These properties are now compounding. You've got the growth of these apartments. So in year 4, your properties are worth around about 2.65 million. In year 6, they're worth around about 4.38 million. This is all off your initial $100,000 investment, mind you. Then you continue the process, and by year 10, you've probably got 5 or 6 apartments, all growing nicely, and you're getting that equity, that nice growth behind you. See, I told you this was simple, and you didn't believe me. So here's how the numbers work. You started with that initial 100, okay? Year 2, you've got 1.21 in equity. Use that. Year 4, you got 2.65. Then use that by year 6, 4.38. And then, hey presto, by year 10, you've got nearly $10 million in equity, in property, okay? So how does that sound? Does that sound pretty interesting to you? Well, many people do this. And imagine moving forward, if you started your game plan now to build your own financial fortress. And I need to say, I got that phrase from a friend of mine, Roy McDonald, but I think it's a good one. Building your own financial fortress. Trust me, you're probably going to be around in 10 years' time. How good would it be if you're able to say, well, you know what? I'm not going to work. I'm going to hang out and lie on the beach in Surfers Paradise, or go over to France for 3 months, or do whatever you want to do, because you've got that wealth behind you and you don't have to swap your time for money, having to, work for a living, rolling your sleeves up. Trust me, okay, it's a pretty good life. So that's the sort of thing that I love doing to help clients. Again, if you think this plan has some potential and you'd like to know a bit more about possibly finding some good developments in prime locations, I'm happy to give you some guidance. Have a look down below. You'll see a link there somewhere with access to my calendar, and we can see how this could possibly work for you. I do say again, because the last thing I want to do is have trouble with lawyers, I am not a financial planner. I've just done okay for myself. Many people use this strategy and other strategies, but I just want you to be aware that with a bit of planning and a bit of knowledge, you too could build your own financial fortress and really set yourself up in a good way. So if you want to have a chat and be aware of what off-market apartments are coming on available, I'd be happy to make you have a look at the fit of them and see if any of them possibly could work for you. I hope you do connect with me. Have a look down below again and you'll see the link to my calendar, and let's see what might happen from there. Hope to talk to you soon. Bye for now.